Hello everybody, it's me, Granddaddy Loves Cars. I just want to make this video because there's sometimes, and I can't blame nobody, but sometimes there's a lot of confusion between this concept. And this concept is, I guess, when you in the performance cars and upgrading and modifying your vehicle, it is a thing that a lot of people do, and they do it to their vehicles, but may not necessarily know the difference. Now, this what I'm speaking of is a real power adder to your vehicle and a power filler. I don't know if that's the proper term I should say, but that's what I'm gonna say, because I'm Granddaddy. A power adder versus a power filler. Now, I'm gonna give some examples of each one of these here things. And I'm gonna explain the difference between the two. Now, in the car world, people do a lot of things to their car. Simple things people do. They add a cold air intake. They add exhaust. They add headers. They add a performance chip, they had gears, they had tires, they had cams, they had, it's a list. You can write a book. There are books on what mods to add to your car, what mods do and don't work, what help and don't help, and all them type of things. I go on and on. But at the end of the day, there's essentially two different things that's gonna do something to your car: a real true power adder and something that's a power filler. Now I'm gonna explain, and along with that, I'm gonna also add, I'm gonna just say this: both of those things here can change the horsepower numbers. The actual, like if you're on a dyno, both of those things can change the number of the power on your vehicle. Just because one is a power adder or a power filler don't mean it's not going to make a difference, or it is going to make a big difference. But both of those things can essentially, can or cannot, give you actual different power numbers when you're on a dyno or something of that nature. Now, the first thing, and I'm as a matter of fact, let me backtrack. Let me give my definition, and I mean my personal definition of each one of these. Now, it's not just my personal definition, like I'm pulling a definition out my rear end. These are just my way of explaining both of these two different things. The first thing I say is a power adder. And now, a power adder is something that will actually add to the performance of your vehicle, and typically that is done through adjusting your air in the not inlet, but the air flowing into your engine of some sort, the air flowing out of your vehicle of some sort, or there's some in between, but or I'm gonna say this: adding air in, letting air out, and essentially the fuel that's being delivered to your engine. Now let's speak on some real power adders. A cold air intake, it may give you, depending on your vehicle, it may give you 5 horsepower. It might give you 50. It might not do anything, but that is a real power adder, because it will literally change the horsepower and torque of your vehicle. It adds more airflow. You will get more performance of some sort. This is debatable. An exhaust system. Some say get a catback. Some say get straight pipes. Whatever the case is, an exhaust system, and especially if you have headers, I would recommend long, but that's a whole nother story. Literally add power to your vehicle. In that method, they increase the rate of exhaust, how it flows out of your vehicle, essentially increasing your horsepower and torque performance. Now, I gave you a definition And in some examples, a power adder is something that will literally change your engine, change the performance, change the inlet, the outlet, the fuel delivery, some sort of that, a turbo, a supercharger, a cold air intake, things like that are power adders. Now I'm gonna speak on a power filler. Now, some power fillers will change the actual horsepower number, and some of them won't. But I will give you an example. One example: getting the gears at different size gears in your vehicle. For example, my Tahoe Alphard, it has 410 gears, which are longer gears, which means instead of the factory gears, the differential, the ring pinion in my truck is now I have a performance one to where when I press that gas pedal, it will snatch harder and give you a more throw you in your seat feeling. I didn't change nothing on my engine, nothing to actually make it the actual horsepower and numbers change more or less. I just changed the way that it feels when I press the gas. Another one, touchy subject, I'm going to say two things. Larger actual rims, proper term would be to say wheels, larger or smaller wheels, and the size or the thick or smaller tires itself you have on your vehicle can make a difference. For example, Alphard has 30-inch rims. If I had factory gears, it might take off way slower. You may not feel it. But typically, larger and heavier, and off-road tires, any of those combinations, or all two or three or whatever, usually makes your car feel slower if you haven't added any power adders or any other of supporting power fillers like gears, because it's heavier, it's a larger diameter, it decreases that power that's putting down. Another thing, drag radials. Drag radials, that's a touchy thing. Sometimes it can, if you are on a dyno, it can make your power numbers go down. However, if you are on an actual street and a racetrack, you would feel that power more because the drag radial is going to make that power actually go, not going to make you spin out. It makes you go. You feel it's a power filler. Then, and just like I stated before, power adders typically always, more or less, whether it's a camshaft, a turbo, a cold air intake, whatever, will add to some degree torque and horsepower to your motor. Add to that performance of the vehicle. Now, like I just stated, power fillers, sometimes they will and won't. For example, if you change the size of your tires, let's say I have Alphard came with 20-inch wheels, and let's say they 20 pounds each. That's way off. Let's just say they're 50 pounds each. That's 200 pounds. Wheels and tires, 50 pounds on each corner. Now I have 30. Let's say that's 75 each. That's 300 pounds. My truck could feel slower, and it could put out slower numbers or lower horsepower numbers without the gears on a dyno, just because of that extra weight that's on there. However, you can get something like, but it's not actually adding to the performance of my vehicle or taking away, it's just changing the way it feels due to that weight. Just like I said, gears. I have 14 gears. Gears may or may not change the actual number of your car running on a dyno. However, it will feel more powerful by having those gears. But on the actual dyno, it may or may not give better numbers because it's not an actual power adder. It is a power filler. And with that being said, that is essentially the difference between a power adder and a power filler. But there's some things that are in the gray area, which I would say is a touch of both. And those things would be, in my opinion, like a tune, a performance tune. Somebody, either you can get a ship tune, mail-in tune, buy one from one of them websites. You can call your local performance tuner who specializes in your vehicle. Regardless, that's changing the computer changing the numbers, the output, the air fuel ratio. Sometimes some people tune the transmission to change to get the most power out of their vehicle sometimes. And some people tune their vehicles to do different things, whether you drag racing, drifting, off-roading, whatever, but you change the computer. Now, I want to say this. That, I'm going to put it like this. That's one of them things in the gray area, because while you're not actually putting a part, a cam, a intake manifold, a coder intake, something on your actual engine itself to change that power number, or essentially to change it by putting something physical on there, you're going into your computer and changing the engine, the computer, and the timing itself by electronically, so you will get better, or whatever your goals are, but you will get better horsepower numbers, because you went into your motor and changed that, even though you didn't add anything. Like I said, it's in the gray area. And at the same time, a tune is still a power filler, because you're not adding anything to your motor or anything like that. You're not putting gears or anything, changing tires, but essentially, when you change the numbers in that computer, unlike back in my day, where if you wanted to tune it, you had to add the proper carb spacer and different jets on your carb, thing like that. But nowadays, it's fuel injected. All you do is punch in the computer, adjust the right timing, and things of that, all the above. And it's a power adder and a power filler, because you will literally get more horsepower and torque, and your vehicle will perform better. Just like my Vet. What did I do? Got a tune on it. And literally, soon as I drove it again, I literally felt, whoa, this is different. And at the same time, what else happened? I literally got more horsepower numbers. So there's essentially three things, if I must be honest: the power adders, power fillers, and those gray area things like a tune, which kind of give you both at once. I just want to shine some light on the things versus what an actual power adder is and what a power filler is, and things like that. You got any questions? Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, show your grandkids, because I'm showing y'all. Granddaddy love y'all. Say your prayers. Drive safe. Don't phone and drive. Don't drink and drive. Peace.